So I've spent the last 4+ years building the simulator behind me, tinkering with it, upgrading it and so on. And it probably owes me around about $35,000 Australian. And at 56, I'm not quite ready yet to commit to a flight school. But I have always loved aviation. And honestly, doing this simulator and actually enjoying the hobby of flight simulation has been the best hobby investment ever. Let me walk you through why a flight simulator approach might just be the right one for you at this stage, rather than going straight for that PPL. Look, $35,000 does sound like a lot of money, and it is. But let me put that into perspective. That's about 100 hours at $350 an hour of flight training, except for the fact that since I've had this running, I have logged much more than 300 hours of flying. And the reality is, in this thing, I can fly for the rest of my life whenever I want. When you break that down, I mean, the math actually works out brilliantly. But more importantly, here's what the investment really bought me. Complete freedom. I can fly from Bankstown to Bathurst all before breakfast. I can practice that approach 20 or 30 times if I want to without bothering anyone or churning up those expensive flight hours. I can try flying in weather conditions that I would never even dream about doing in the real world. Oh, and if family calls, then I just hit that pause button and walk away. No scheduling around instructors, no weather cancellations, no driving to the airport. Plus, I can crash spectacularly if I want to, and I haven't hurt anyone other than my own pride. At this stage of my life, having that flexibility means everything. I'm not ready to commit to a rigid flight training schedule just yet. This way, I can still pursue that passion for aviation, but do it on my terms. But here's what I didn't expect to love so much. This thing is never finished. There's always something to improve, something to upgrade or experiment with. It's almost like having your own project car, but it's a project aircraft, and it's right in my home. New switches to add, software to optimize, hardware to upgrade. Every improvement makes this flight simulator experience just that much better. Honestly, ask any other sim builder. The building and the tinkering, well, it's half the fun. This whole simulator is modeled in Fusion 360. I've learned CAD software, framing techniques, electronics all along the way. Skills that I will have forever. But the best part is I can tinker whenever I like or just fly. It's really up to me. Now, I'm not just messing around up here either. I wouldn't have invested this much money into it if I was. I'm learning real aviation skills. And that's where this gets really interesting for someone my age. Now, I'm not the best at it, but I've taught myself some of the basics around navigation of the G1000 glass cockpit, the same glass cockpit that is used in the modern Cessnas. I know the startup procedures, I know how to log in flight plans, hold patterns, radio and communication channels, map configurations, setting up autopilots, leaning out the engine system. This isn't just a game. This is legitimate flight training for me. Self-taught, but without the pressure of the flight school right now, and those hourly costs. Over 300 hours now. That's more than most people spend getting their private pilot's license. The difference? Well, I did it on my schedule, at my pace, with zero pressure. I didn't have an instructor watching the clock at $300 to $350 an hour. No medical certificate stress, no age restrictions, no weather delays, just pure aviation enjoyment when I want it. If you're finding this video helpful and you are in that over 50 aviation journey, then please do me a favor, hit the subscribe button. I share the honest reality of sim building and what this hobby really means at this stage of our lives. No fluff, just real experiences. All right, back into it. If I ever do decide to pursue that pilot's license, maybe after retirement, maybe when circumstances change, I reckon I'm going to be pretty well prepared. Think about it. If I train on a 172 glass cockpit, I'm going to pretty much know that layout. I should have a base understanding of the systems, the procedures. I should be pretty comfortable with the G1000. Hopefully, pretty confident with that radio work. Well, will it make that training go faster? Probably. Will it save money? Definitely. Fewer hours needed means a lower cost overall. But that's just the bonus. The real benefit is that I've got this set up with me today and I can enjoy it without any commitment. Plus, there's no medical pressure. Look, I'm healthy now, but who knows what's going to happen as we age. Medications, health conditions, they can ground you from real flying. With this setup, I've got unlimited flying, regardless of what happens with my medical certificate. Knowing that and the investment that I've put in means that I've got myself a sustainable hobby, even if I'm not medically fit to fly. Now, before we go any further, I need to be crystal clear about something. Nothing, and I mean nothing, replaces real-world flight training with a certified flight instructor in a real aircraft. There are things that you simply cannot learn in a simulator. The physical sensations of flight, seat of your pants, actually feeling the aircraft responding to turbulence, experiencing those G-forces in a turn, sensing the actual weight and balance shift during maneuvers. Yes, you can have motion simulators, but they're just not quite the same. And here's a big one, having the actual stress when things aren't going well, that you simply cannot hit reset. That is irreplaceable. The mentorship from a certified flight instructor who's sitting right next to you, reading the situation, ahead of the curve, correcting you in real time, teaching you that judgment that really only comes from experience. That human element, it's absolutely critical. And whilst flight simulators can do a pretty good job of dynamic weather, it's just not the same as Mother Nature. The decision making under real conditions, that comes with an element of stress, and that's where the real pilots are made. Plus, if your goal is to actually fly, to go and get that PPL, to maybe take family and other passengers up in the air, then flight training, it isn't optional, it's mandatory. There may be a way of reducing costs by virtue of having a simulator similar to this, but there's no shortcut to getting a private pilot's license. You still need to sit all those tests and exams and proficiencies. So why am I telling you this? It's because I want you to understand what my setup is and what it isn't. It's not meant to be, nor was it ever designed to be, a replacement for the real thing. On my journey, I've tried to get this as close as I can to a Cessna 172 G1000. But it's not perfect, it's not 100%. But what it is a great hobby and tool for me that I can tinker with and fly whenever I want, and gives me a bit of a appreciation and understanding for what real-world aviation might just look like. So there we are. And now you understand why I chose to build and configure a simulator like this ahead of pursuing my private pilot's license at this point in time. Deep down, are you really wanting to go and grab that private pilot's license because you want to get that certification and be able to fly in the skies for real? Then go and book that discovery flight and start the training. But if you're like me and you prefer at this stage of your life to tinker and build and maybe continue to build on your aviation knowledge without the pressure of going and worrying about flight training right now in a formal sense, and or maybe you've got some medical conditions that you need to work through that you would prevent you from otherwise flying, then perhaps the simulator hobby is the way to go. So drop a comment below. I would love to understand, do you have a simulator that you use purely for flight training, recreation, or just having some good old fun? Or maybe you're already pursuing that private pilot's license. Let me know where you're at with your journey. For me, although I'm a number of years in now with my flight sim building journey, it's just the beginning. I enjoy the tinkering and I enjoy learning about aviation at my pace. I'm just not ready yet to go and do that PPL. But that does not mean that I won't go and do it one day. There's no single right path in this aviation hobby. The only path that makes sense is the path that you want to take for your situation and for your circumstances. Well, thanks everyone for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video and you got something out of it. If you did, please do me that favor, hit that like button. And if you haven't subscribed, well, I would love it if you could. Smash that subscribe button, hit the notification bell, let YouTube do its thing. and I'll catch up with you guys on the next one. Bye for now. That I'm not medically flit. Not medically flit.